Hey guys, Pro1701 here, and today we are going to be ranking our top 3 favorite stories from Season 6 of Classic Doctor Who, the final season for Patrick Troughton, and the final season of the 60s, and the final season in black and white. There are big changes ahead. And there are 7 stories in this season. I'm going to talk about my top 3. I have not seen all of them, so I'm going to actually discuss every story. But I'm going to talk about my top 3 first, which are the Seeds of Death, which, as I mentioned in my Season 5 video, I much prefer Seeds of Death to the original, the Ice Warriors from Season 5. I found the Ice Warriors a bit dull and boring. But I like Seeds of Death. It's really, really good. It fills out its 6 parts really, really well. I like a couple of the cliffhangers, like when they're in the rocket and the rocket's about to overshoot or get lost. That was really neat. I felt really bad for that one coward guy on the moon base who all he wanted was to live. I mean, he was a huge coward, but some people they just are. That's their fight or flight nature. They're cowards. It's just how it is. He was trying so hard to live. It really is good. I like the cast in it. It's a nice sized cast if I remember correctly. It's just, to me, a better outing for the Ice Warriors. One of their best stories in my opinion. Next on the list is The Invasion. This one is phenomenal. This one deserves the status it holds. It's such a good Cyberman story. I love that Cyberman design. The Invasion / Revenge of the Cybermen cyber design is possibly my favorite. I know that's my favorite helmets. I love their helmets and their kind of blank face. I love that. It's nice seeing the Brigadier back, and this is his first story where he's actually the Brigadier. It's nice being introduced to Corporal Benton here. The iconic imagery of the Cybermen walking around London is really, really nice. The fact the Cybermen don't actually show up till like halfway through the story, really. The guy playing Vaughn, he does such a good job here. Vaughn is such a good human villain. And so is Pekka. Yes, Pekka. He's a good human villain you can just love to despise. They make a good pair of those two. The animation is good. I really do wish the story was complete, but I'm very grateful that we have 3/4 of it at least. And I do think the animation for episodes 1 and 4 works really well. There's that little bit right with the helicopter escape where things get a little hard to follow. But other than that, I think the animation works really, really well. I enjoy it. It's definitely one of my favorites of the Troughton era. It really does fill out its 8 parts really well. And then number 1 is the War Games. I think the War Games does its 10 parts really well. There's some padding in there, but I don't mind it because I'm enjoying myself the whole time. Troughton gets some good performances in there. How dare you! I love that. And of course, you know, the icing on the cake is episode 10. The ending of episode 9 and episode 10. I love watching when the Doctor calls the Time Lords and time is moving in slow motion because of the Time Lords. I love that. I love that cliffhanger. It's one of my favorite Doctor Who cliffhangers. And then just episode 10 in general is one of the best episodes of Doctor Who made. It's so good. You really get to meet the Time Lords. The Time Lords are never better than they are in episode 10. Those are the Time Lords I want to see more of. The ones that are like gods. The ones who can just erase people out of existence like that. The ones who can put a force field around an entire planet with their mind. I want those Time Lords back because they've never been better than they are here. And Troughton is great here. I love how he faces down the Time Lords. You know, you asked me to defend my actions. That's what I'm doing. I love that bit about, while you have been content merely to observe the evil in the universe, I have been fighting against it. I love that he's standing his ground. He's pleading his case. I absolutely love that. I like that little bit about when he's talking to Jamie and Zoe about, they'll probably tell me to be a good boy and give me a speech and all that. They like their speeches. I love how he says that line. They like their speeches. And then when they're deliberating one time, the Doctor's just like, and then I love his last little romp with them as they try to escape. You almost know that Troughton, you think that Troughton probably knows they won't get away, but he's just trying to, to entertain them, to go along with it just for their sake. Well, let's give it a try. I'm pretty sure he knew they weren't going to get away, but he wanted to give them a little bit of hope and have a few more minutes together before he had to say goodbye. And that the goodbye to Jamie and Zoe is short, but I think it's really well done. I think it's very touching when he says that, the goodbye, Jamie. And that little wave he does, it's a beautiful shot. It's very Second Doctor. It's actually, again, it's one of the goodbyes I really enjoy. I love the War Games. I really love the War Games. Others on there, the Crotons. You guys, if you're familiar with my channel, you know I like the Crotons. I think it's very underrated. I think the Croton design, like from here up, is great. I love the little diamond head spinning. It's just, everything from here down is kind of classic Who. But I did enjoy the story. I think it's a good 4-parter. I think if it had been longer than that, it might have been too much, but I think it works really well as a 4-parter. I do want to go back and watch it again sometime soon because I like the Crotons. And I've never seen the Space Pirates, naturally, since it pretty much doesn't exist. I've never seen the Dominators, and I've never seen the Mine Robber. I've seen the first few minutes of the first episode of the Mine Robber. At the time, I didn't know about what the Mine Robber was, so I was just totally lost, and I only watched like the first maybe 10 minutes of episode 1. Now that I'm more familiar with it, I want to go back and watch it. And then I just want to see the Dominators, just because I'm curious if I'll think it's bad like most people do, or if I'll think it's underappreciated like the Crotons is. So that's where I am on Season 6. So I would like to know what you think of Season 6 and what your top 3 stories are. So comment down below and let me know your thoughts on that. I always enjoy interacting with you guys. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. There's a link to that down in the description below. Check that out if you have a minute. But if not, I'm perfectly fine if you would just be content with clicking that subscribe button, clicking that like button. Always trying to grow the channel. But at the end of the day, hey, even if you just enjoy watching what I do, I want you to know I appreciate that. I'm glad to have everybody here. Most importantly, thank you for watching.